Mincara Park, Flagstaff Rotary Walk. You are somewhere here. Yeah. I mean, if I just, I mean, the person's had my articles for, what, nearly coming up to 8 years now. They're supposed to be filmed and put on a DVD. I mean, okay, admittedly the person had a lot on, you know, international conferences to do, other DVDs to make, but, you know, give me some sign of evidence that you have actually worked on them, you know. Otherwise, can you kindly please return them to me? I mean, you've had them for, well, coming up to 8 years now. And the other thing is, a sign of good faith would be my original seminal article on your reference page. You know, it's not like it doesn't have 50 or more other references on there, and then they're all references to other things like Nepenthes or Darlingtonia or other Sundews. I mean, just one more article on there isn't going to pervert those 50 other references, is it? I mean, what do you do? Waiting around to find another article by someone else before me? I mean, is that going to be likely? I mean, there's no Aboriginal stories about the plant, and they were here for 80,000 years, you know. I mean, if anyone was going to notice something, it would be the Aborigines. They had the time, they had 80,000 years to have the chance to notice this. And apparently there's no Aboriginal stories, so if you're waiting around to find another article by someone else earlier on in the last century, I doubt you'll find it. So, I don't think you really want to go down that path of trying to rewrite history. It's not a good look, for a start. I mean, just be honest. Stick one, you know, get them. I just don't know why the ICPS just doesn't reprint my original seminal article. Maybe the other one as well. I mean, they both have key points in it, but my seminal article, about a half of what's in there is in all the other papers, you know. And I'm saying, you know, what, as you say, what are you trying to do? Rewrite history? I mean, just giving a title reference to a seminal paper is, I don't think, good enough, and I don't think it's fair either. I mean, the key critical point is you haven't put my seminal article on your reference page, and you've had it for almost 8 years. You have both those articles and another one, the red volume, with the 3D slides. You've had them for nearly 8 years now, almost a decade, and you still haven't put my seminal article on your reference page, and yet there are 50 other references on there with extensions to other articles in other CP journals around the world. I think that's the key point, and I think that is the telling point. But anyway, I'll leave it up to you. A gentleman would come clean now and put my seminal article on his reference page. He would probably admit fault and put my seminal article on his reference page. That's all I wanted. That would be a sign of good faith to me. That would have been a sign of good faith. That would have been the key sign of good faith from my point of view. I said, okay, there it is. It's there for all the world to see. The original article. I had to fight so hard to actually have that published. I couldn't even publish it in my own Carnivorous Plants journal because they rejected it and wanted to change the wording. So I had to publish in another journal, and now they're saying it doesn't count because it's not peer reviewed. Well, I like to remind you that CPN wasn't peer reviewed before the middle 90s. So, you know, in my day, we didn't have peer reviewed Carnivorous Plant journals. That's a key point there. So there was no possible way I could get an article in a peer reviewed journal. So there you go. I'd just like to point that one out, and I'll put this online. It'll be there for posterity for the next 200 years, hopefully, in this poor quality sound and video footage, but at least it'll be up there. Someone in the future can understand my views and point of view and feelings about this. I mean, it's been a long journey. Why did it have to be so hard? I mean, something as exciting as this. And as I said, as we've investigated this, there's so much more that's come from it, and that could have been happening in the early 1980s had those two scientists done what they said they'd done and come back at the end of the season after they'd investigated. But they never came back. They never came back. And so instead of getting less bullying, I got more. Thank you very much. Well, that's going to have to be on your conscience for the rest of your life. because you didn't do what you said you were going to do. And yes, I was right. It is the fastest sundew on the planet, isn't it? You know, and when they do more investigative research, I'm sure they'll discover that it can move faster than the eye can see when they crank up the temperature to Australian standards of about 45 degrees, I reckon, that occurs at Cannington Swamp at the end of the season. Well, there you go. You might discover a few other things too if you only investigate these things and bring the correct tools to bear on the problem. And why couldn't the research be done in Australia? Yes, I mean, our chap from Catalyst, I did pick up that point. He was a bit sort of peeved that, you know, how come this research had to be done overseas? And I'm saying, yes, hello, Earth to the rest of the universe. Okay, over and out, I'm rambling again.